I want to get a feedback from each and everyone individually. But before that, I thought to give you a little announcement. Now, this week, today, Tuesday, tomorrow, Wednesday, we will have the classes. And on Thursday, I thought of taking a break because I'm traveling outstation with my family. So you can commence your vacation on the 1st of April itself. Vacation means the study vacation. I don't have the right to give you vacation on your work. So I hope you all can, since we are going to have classes only today and tomorrow, from Thursday onwards, 1st of April, the next session or class will be on the 20th of April. So therefore, you should be able to complete the assignment. So I am eager to have a feedback from each and every one of you today and tomorrow. So can I have feedback from Asri Tenakon? How is your, yes.
I started to write, but I was collecting some documents, but I want to add something about early days regulating in marathon money broking because it started since 1980.
Yes, Asri. Now, yeah, you're having some.
Yeah, I have some difficulties, but when I try to add something about early day regulating, but I found some already done assignments about this, not the regulating and but all it's covering all the money broking firm field. Then it said it was written in about around 2004. It say there is no legal framework for regulating money brokers business in Sri Lanka. Furthermore, there is no accepted code in ethics in that when it comes to 2004.
But we have one from 2018 onwards.
2018. Then I just don't know if there wasn't there anything before 2000.
Yeah, there was, because I don't know who had written the 2004 article that you are reading.
Yeah.
Before I started my treasury career in 1984. From that time onwards, there was the ACI Code of Conduct, and the central bank was monitoring the brokers using the ACI Code of Conduct. So just read, be careful in selecting your articles to read, and then very well you can, somebody has published it, and then there should be some truth in it. But on the other hand, Asri, what I'm suggesting is you have only a 1,000 words count, that is about 200 to 250 words per page.
Yes, sir.
You will write only about 5 pages maximum, right?
Yeah.
So don't dig through unnecessary literature. But this is a regulatory subject is regulation, so therefore it's worthwhile you read that whatever selected article. But at the same time, try to be smart, because the other topics, other subheadings will require more word count, and then just identify the problem. Is the regulation, these are the regulations, the regulation is helpful in fulfilling your targets, performance.
Yes,
so have that question in mind right throughout the writing of the assignment. So when you address that question, final conclusion, you will come out nicely. When the regulations are there, despite there being a slight increment in cost incurring to manage the firm, when you are required to fulfill certain requirement or to comply with the regulations, that time wise and probably resource wise, there can be little cost allocations, but on the medium to long term, you are going to be more stable your organization is going to be more stable, and then thereby you are going to earn a better name in the market amongst your clientele who are banks and brokers at the moment, but in the future it can expand. When you have a better name in the market, you will attract more business and more margins, more revenue. So have that mindset, please, Azri.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Iran Fernando, can I have feedback?
So I have started with the introduction,
Right.
and going on with the regulations.
Right. Okay. Have you started the spreadsheet with the subheadings?
Yes, sir. Subheadings and sir, a small issue, sir. What about sir the word count, sir? Word count.
I said 1,000 plus or
I think
minus
yeah,
10%.
1,000, sir. But when we start to write the regulations, sir, there's a big issue in the. I mean, which I face, sir, with the word count, because there is a lot in the thing, yeah, the gazette, sir, which I read.
Yeah.
How can we?
Now the code of conduct, just get Iran
Yes, sir.
on the code of conduct, just get the key regulations on a summary form, if at all on a point form. Okay. Okay. Don't
Okay,
try
sir.
to increase the word count. But I don't mind having even
Okay, sir.
2,000 words. I can read through and then give you marks. There's no problem. But
Okay, sir.
for generalization purposes, I'm indicated 1,000 words count. So plus or
Yes,
minus
sir.
10%.
Yeah.
Even if you go up to 1,100, I don't mind. But even if you go to 2,000, but if the good material is written, I will love to read.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right. Lakshan Aluhare, can I have feedback?
Yeah. Yes, sir. So I'm going through this regulatory requirements.
Yeah.
I'm still looking for information, sir.
Okay. Okay. So from you'll have classes only today and tomorrow. Thursday onwards, you'll have full 20 days to write and complete it. So today and tomorrow, I'm going to bother you all by asking you what have you done and then what direction are you on. Excuse me, please. मेरे क्लास पढ़ाएंगे तीन. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I'm reminded to request you to unmute the mic when I speak to the person, please. Right. So Lakshan, can you unmute the mic and speak? Unmute the camera. I'm sorry. Put the camera on. Very good.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay. So you are on the right direction and on the correct direction, right, Lakshan?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you have any difficulty, please bother me or the phone or whatever. I'll be happy to help you. Okay. You will not have a problem with the word count, right? Good. Right. Thanks, Lakshan. Then Madhushika Ranjit, can I have a feedback? Madhushika? Is she on? Okay. Yes, Madhushika, can I have a feedback? So until Madhushika gets on board, shall we go to Mahil Kavinder? Can you switch on the camera and then speak?
Yes, sir.
Can you switch on the camera, please? Yes, good. How's the experience in writing?
Like, sir, I have started only the beginning part.
Okay.
It's like collecting information these days.
Right. Very
So
good.
in this one, sir, we have to write you have to take the whole. It's like not only the Sri Lankan market, no, sir.
Yeah. Money broking is there generally.
Yeah, right.
But I would love just the ordinary thinking, very intelligence is that you touch on the current status quo in our market. And then if at all in another paragraph or another subheading, you can carry on to say avenues to improve.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got it? Any question?
Yes. For now, it's like I had only a small partner, sir.
Yeah.
Problems from that area.
So if you have any specific problem, you may call me anytime.
Yeah, sure, sir.
And then ask for guidance. But you are listening to the other conversation, right?
Yes, yes.
Right. Okay. Okay. Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Niluk spoke. Then Praveen Steelman. Praveen.
Yes. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Praveen.
So basically, sir, I've started structuring and layering my assignment.
Very good.
Complete it as all assignments. So regarding the technical side of it, I went through the global and ACI effect codes.
Very good.
And I was reading an article published by the University of Adelaide regarding the Harvard style of referencing, sir.
Yes.
Basically, about the technical side, I haven't touched it much, so I will start it by this week.
Super. So if you have any problem, please contact me. Yeah?
No, sir. Sure.
Right. Good luck. Is Madhushika Ranjit on? Join in now?
Yes, sir.
Switch on the camera and speak. Can you switch on the camera and speak?
Okay, sir.
Good. So, is there any difficulty, Madhushika?
No, sir. I couldn't start it.
You could not start it?
Yes.
Why? Office work or home work or whatever?
I'm at home. I'll start it soon.
You started?
I'll start it soon.
Yeah, you have to start very quickly because I'll be asking tomorrow as well of your progress. Now, you have to fill about 4 or 5 pages of writing, and then you got the sub paragraph that I sent you, right?
Okay, sir.
Have you got it or you have not got it?
I got it.
You got
I'll start it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good luck. Good luck.
Okay, sir.
Malindu Silva, can I have a feedback? Malindu Silva. I think he is logged in. Yes. Can you switch on the camera, please? Can you switch on the camera, please? Good.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Sir, I couldn't start my assignment yet, sir, because I am not well during the weekend. I had a bad fever.
Okay.
I will start today onwards, sir. Sorry, sir.
Okay. But fever is not COVID, right?
Yeah, not COVID, sir.
Okay. Okay, please start soon.
Right away,
And
sir.
then, once you start, you can have some guidelines, and then just open up a spreadsheet and put up the paragraphs and subheadings, and then start writing.
Right away, sir.
Okay. Okay. Are you on medication, Malindu?
Sorry, sir?
Are you taking medicine for your fever? Or?
Yes, sir. Yes. Yes. During the weekend, I got.
Okay, now you're okay. You're
yes,
recovered. All right. Okay.
Today
you're in office, is it?
Yes, sir. I'm in office.
Very good. Very good. Okay. All the best to you.
Okay. Thank you.
Sachitra Bandara, can I have a feedback, please?
Sir, I'm still gathering information. I just want to clarify what is the percentage of for the plagiarism? Like for using references, you can't like edit, no?
There's no percentages as such, but I want to inculcate that discipline, right? Because we are all professionals. Please avoid plagiarism totally. Okay, because whatever you read from somewhere, whatever the facts that you get from somebody, you must give due credit to them.
So what about the definitions?
Yeah,
so we can't change that, no?
I'm not asking to change it. Whatever you read, you can either choose to write word by word, character by character, what you read out, and then say that, give the reference and that you took it from this particular book or article or author's name. Then it's not plagiarism.
Doesn't it come under plagiarism, sir?
No. Okay. When you give credit to that person, because you are not stealing. Plagiarism is something you are writing somebody's article point without giving credit to that person as if it is your own, like a thief. That's plagiarism. That's bad action. But when you write something with due credit to that person, you indicate the Harvard style author's name, article, date, page, and all that, then you can very well do that. You are not you don't commit any wrong of plagiarism. You understood?
Yes, sir. Thanks.
Right. So you can read as much as possible, write others' ideas, and then but give reference and then say that the original idea is from that person.
Okay, got it.
Right. Okay, so with that you will have no problem, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Then Sadharwan Amaradasa, can I have a feedback? Sadharwan? Yes. Are you speaking, Sadharwan? I can't hear you, Sadharwan.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening. Yes. How is the progress of the assignment?
I start and writing and looking for information, sir.
So do you think that you can complete by third week or 20th of April and submit it?
Yes, sir.
Should be able to, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. So, but start, open up a spreadsheet and then start writing, please.
Okay, sir.
If you have any problem, you can get back to me. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay,
Good
sir.
luck. Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Now, Tilini Mohammed, can I have a feedback, please?
Hello.
Tilini Mohammed,
Good
yes.
evening, sir.
Good evening.
Hello.
Yes.
So I started working on my assignment.
Yes.
Still searching information and collecting data and found some regulations. Need to summarize them all.
Right.
For the moment, almost one page done, sir, for the moment.
Very good. Most progressive so far, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Have you indicated you all subparagraphs, headings, subheadings?
Yes, sir.
So your writing is going to the direction of indicating the regulations and your endeavors to comply with them, and
yes.
whether such compliance will cost you money, resources, an indication of that.
So there's a small issue, sir.
Yes.
The price discovery.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
I have a small issue regarding the price discovery.
Okay.
I have no idea about that.
Price discovery is this. Now, when somebody is bidding for spot dollars, and when there are no suppliers, what is the natural thing to happen? More demand, more bids coming up, and the price will go up, right?
Yeah.
And when the suppliers emerge, when there are spot dollar suppliers emerge, when the bidders are filled up one by one, and the supply, if the supply levels increase, the rising price will stagnate and then finally will go down, isn't it? When the supply is more. Understood, Tilini?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So, and then finally, the volumes on demand and volumes on supply will come to an equilibrium, and the price level will be discovered. That's a price discovery based on supply and demand. It can be spot dollars, it can be call money, it can be 3 months money, it can be forward dollars, anything. Or it can be treasury bills, it can be treasury bonds, it can be repos. Price discovery is based on supply and demand and reaching an equilibrium price. But it can be flowed when there are regulations, right? When the government says that 25% of the export proceeds must be sold to the central bank, that's the regulation, right? So that quantum of 25% of the export proceeds coming to the market will go into central bank coffers. Sometimes may not satisfy the other people who are demanding dollars. Okay, it can vary because of regulations and other influences. But price discovery actual meaning is equilibrium price going by the demand and supply. All right.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. How do you want to apply that to the assignment, Tilini? How are you going to apply that, the price discovery function, to the assignment where regulatory part? Any idea?
Yeah, regulatory parts. Is it a point form? We have to write point form or
anything?
Basically summary.
Yeah, summary, and then but have the question in mind when the regulations are there. When the regulator, now I will give the answer for you on the price discovery function.
Yes.
When the regulators aim or goal is also to have an equilibrium price for the rupee value, and then also the interest rates market on the level of interest rates. So the regulations also will be aiming to have that goal without giving into excessive demand or excessive supply, right? So the regulator will want a suitable exchange rate, a suitable interest rate for our market. That will be the thinking of the regulator. Okay. Can you get a point extracted out of that for your assignment?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So get those points, get that idea, and then finally at the conclusion, you can indicate that the cost of regulations, complying to the regulatory measures, the incurring cost and sort of things, and the benefit would be for your organizations when compliance is at the maximum for regulations. You all will earn a reputation in the market, and your clients, banks and primary dealers and all others to whom you are serving, you will be a accepted image in the market. You will create a good image in the market, and you will win more business in medium to long term. Okay, so actually compliance to the regulation is going to be a positive factor in the business growth in the medium to long term. Okay, Trini? Okay, then we'll go on to Trevor Gomez.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening, Trevor.
Yeah, 25% of the work is done, sir.
Very good.
The introduction and the regulations are concluded, and 75% have to go on. So most probably next 2 weeks I'll complete it, sir.
Very good, very good.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, good luck. Vindhya Erandi, can I have a feedback? Yes, Vindhya.
So I'm still on the introduction part. More research to do, sir.
Right. So you are started anyway, right?
Yes, sir.
Your camera is on, is it?
No, sir.
Why? No camera fixed at your office?
I'm in the office, sir.
All right. Okay. So if you have a problem, please contact me.
Okay, sir. Sure.
I will try and help you wherever I can.
Okay, sir.
Right. Okay. Good luck.
Thank you.
Is that all? Today only 14 people, right? Did I speak to Isuru Hinduragal?
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening, Isuru.
Sir, actually, I started my research and I gathered more information. And I started writing it too. If there any problem, I call you, sir.
Sure. You listening to all the conversation, right?
Yeah, yes. Sir.
You would have got a good, fair idea.
Yeah, sir.
So if you have any problem, yes, please contact.
Okay, sir. Sure.
Good. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Yes, Mahil.
No, I'm Clint, Cami. Because I'm sharing his PC because my laptop is already broken. So I given the service because so I started to do, but I started to collect the details, but I still not update because the laptop. So I spoke with my friend. He said he'll given his laptop. After that, I'll want to do.
Right. Okay. So with the material reading and literature, you have no problem?
Yeah, because I'm searching in phone.
Okay.
So every details I can collect in the Google class, so I can check with them.
Okay, sure. So
if any clarification, just contact you, sir.
Okay, please do.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, sir.
So I wish you all good luck in your writing, and then I want to see assignments of high standard. So let's see how we can Can you all see the screen now?
Yes, sir.
Very good. So this is the tutorial 2, and I just want to give a glimpse of the variety of markets that we see in this world, and how better equip the markets, how we could use the markets better to serve our purpose or serve the needs of the wholesale clients and eventually the retail clients, and make them satisfied with their economic activities with a little bit of intermediary work in the financial markets that the money brokers do in support of the bigger intermediaries such as the banks and the primary dealers. So structure of the financial markets in Sri Lanka in comparison to the global financial markets.
So excuse me, sir, we can't see the presentation, sir.
You can't see?
Yeah. It's just showing as you are presenting your screen. That's a display.
Okay. Let me try again. Can you see now?
Now, okay, sir.
Now can you see? Okay. Does everyone see this screen now, please?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. Okay, so I want to just emphasize on the structure of the financial markets in Sri Lanka in comparison to the global financial markets. We will compare and see how Colombo or Sri Lanka financial markets and how equipped we are in comparison to the other markets. Basically, there are three categories of financial markets in the world. First one is the domestic financial markets. Second one is regional financial markets. Third one is the global financial markets. And what we are trying to discuss today is to distinguish or compare between the global, regional, offshore and domestic financial markets and the services offered by various financial centers. Essential requisites for a city to serve as an international financial center. Whether Colombo can serve as an international financial center is a big question mark. We'll go through it and see how we are doing. What are the services offered by financial markets? to the economy, to the wholesale markets, and to the retail markets. Basically, it is a liquidity provision. Whenever somebody wants to buy a dollar or sell a dollar, or buy a treasury bill or to sell a treasury bill, or buy a treasury bond or sell a treasury bond, whether there is an opportunity, whether there are buyers, whether there are sellers, and whether there is a price at which they can sell or buy. That is liquidity provision. And also whether the volumes that they hope to buy or sell can be accommodated by the buyers or sellers in the market. That's the whole scenario of liquidity. Then about the price discovery. In the market where there are buyers and sellers present, and whether there is a price indicated with a bid price or offer price, and when the volumes are brought into the market, the bids and the volumes and the offers and the volumes, whether they can match, and an equilibrium price can be reached for that particular product. Spot dollars, forward dollars, any other currency. In the money market, call money or forward money, or treasury bills, treasury bonds, whether particular ISIN number is available in volumes for sale or purchase, and generally whether they interact, when the buyers and sellers interact with volumes, and the prices given in the market finally end up with the demand and supply based volumes and prices. And at any given point in time, what is the level of equilibrium price met going by such demand and such supply? So that is price discovery. The price discovery helps the economy at large. When somebody wants to produce certain goods, they know that going by the supply and the demand, the price is determined is such a price. Now, good example in the recent past few weeks about the paddy supply. You would have heard in the news. Up until last year, there was a control price or government declared price of 30 rupees per kilogram of paddy. But this government came and increased it to 50 rupees. But in the rush, there were a few large-scale paddy millers who went above the price, government price of 50 rupees, and was trying to buy at 55, 58, and 60 rupees. And government, probably not knowing the mechanisms adopted by these wholesalers or big-time paddy millers, finally, government may have bought some certain quantity, but well above such volumes, the private sector went to the farm and paid spot cash and bought their paddy. And now the paddy is not in the market. There's supposed to be a price war for the rice that is supplied when we approach a festive season. So the price discovery function is deviated or flowed with various influences. So our ability in that market to enable the farmers to supply their paddy at a decent price and a structured price, and the buyers entering the market and flexing their muscles with a view to obtain a super profit after milling the paddy and then obtaining rice when they offer the rice to the consumers. The so-called few large rice millers should not be allowed to obtain super profits, which shows a government weakness or the market weakness. That market has to be structured and then controlled. So that is where these regulations and Act of Parliament and laws and regulations should come in. You see the importance of your assignment now? So when the regulations are intact and the law enforcement or administering the regulations is supervised, and then it is practiced properly, then only the producers and the consumers, in other words, sellers and buyers, will enjoy the best economic advantage in the economic activity. Now, in the paddy market, what we have seen in the past and what we have seen in current days as well, a small group of rich players in the market are trying to flex their muscles and then earn abnormal profits, super profits. Whereas the consumer or the buyer is going to pay a huge price for the rice that they buy, whereas the farmer was not getting the adequate sale price or money, sale proceeds to finance their labor, and then they are living a level of standard of living was not in par with the human standards, the expected standards. The intermediaries who used to enjoy the benefit of the government or the benefit of the law or convincing or through bribes and then maybe political influence, they were earning millions and billions of profits. But the farming community and the consumer community at large, which are more than 95% of this population, are not served properly because of the inefficient market. Whereas the equilibrium price through price discovery is not facilitated. The market efficiency also has to come in. The market efficiency is supplying not only the paddy, but you cater to is the foreign exchange and the interest rates. The market efficiency, when the volumes come into the market as supply, and then when the buyers come into the market to buy with good regulation and good market efficiency, there should be equilibrium price after price discovery and sufficient liquidity in each product. And finally, we must see economic growth at the end of the day, end of the month, end of the quarter, end of the half year, end of the year. The economic growth we are speaking in GDP or gross domestic product. The rice paddy producer and the rice miller and the consumer, they all add to the GDP. The GDP figures will be maintained by the statistical departments, going by the production and the consumption in each and every walk of life, economic activity. When there is a proper structured market environment, the exchange efficiency is increased. Exchange efficiency. The paddy being transported and then sold to the paddy millers or the government outlets or any other small time paddy millers, there should be a transparent policy. And then, of course, it is said that every player in the market, farmer, paddy millers, retailers, transport agents, and the consumers should get the price benefit of in a decent terms. That is exchange efficiency. And finally, ending up with economic growth. When some of these products produced and then consumed in the market are not transmitted from the producer to the end user properly at a decent margin to each player in the market, economic growth will be flawed. Achieving economic growth targets will not be possible. So it is the responsibility of the regulator and the government to enact the laws, and the law enforcement agencies to enforce the laws and monitor the markets and ensure the satisfaction of producers and then end consumers, resulting in economic growth. Services offered by the financial markets. Financial markets are the centers facilitating buying and selling of financial instruments, claims or services. What are the claims? Liabilities. Financial markets caters the credit needs of the individuals, firms and institutions. Financial markets deals with financial assets of different types, such as currency deposits, checks, bills, bonds, etc. So you can very well have a big picture, taking the example of the paddy market that we just took as an example. And we can take a lot of examples also on the foreign exchange market, supply dollars. In Sri Lanka, we do have a short supply of foreign exchange, but the demand is huge by virtue of the fact that we finance a huge bill of imports to this country, but we produce and export only a part or fraction of the import size and number of goods and so on and so forth. So therefore, export proceeds earnings and import financing expenses taken together, there is a huge deficit, shortfall, which is reflected in the trading account of the accounts of this country economy, trading account. But however, those Sri Lankans who are working abroad or expatriate Sri Lankans who are earning in the foreign currency in the foreign countries, they have been remitting to Sri Lanka roughly about $600 million a month, equivalent of foreign currencies. Roughly about 7 billion or $7,000 million equivalent foreign currencies a year. With that, the meager foreign export proceeds were brought to at least the matching levels of the import expenses of this country. Not all the years, but at some years it was with the expatriate remittances, the worker remittances to the country, the financing of import bills were possible up to recently. But with the COVID pandemic, when the expatriate Sri Lankans who do not have comfortable living in those countries where they provide their services or where they earn foreign currencies, they started returning to the country in big numbers. So in years to come, we might not receive the worker remittances to the tune of $7,000 million that we have been receiving so far. But of course, the figures for the last 2 quarters has shown an increase of worker remittances remitted to the country than previous years. That's a good sign. But however, the unskilled labor supply of Sri Lankan in the Middle East and so on and so forth, who do not enjoy a comfortable living in those countries because of COVID pandemic, they may have to come back, and therefore Sri Lankan authorities, the government, the Foreign Employment Bureau and others will have to replace the worker remittances with the skilled workers being sent to foreign countries who could earn large amount of foreign exchange and send large amount of worker remittances to this country than the unskilled labor suppliers. So when there is excess supply of foreign exchange to the market, naturally, more than the buyers, more than the more demand, if there is excess supply of dollars, then there will be a demand for Sri Lankan rupee, or the supply the foreign exchange, foreign currencies to the market will demand for rupees, and therefore rupee will appreciate. The foreign exchange, US dollars and any other currency, excess supply in the Sri Lankan markets, therefore foreign currency value will depreciate. So the financial market deal with the financial assets of different types such as currency deposits, checks, bills, bonds, and foreign exchange, etc. And the financial market caters the credit needs of individuals, firms, and institutions. So we'll go back to the categorization of world financial markets. The largest are the global financial markets or global financial centers. Example, London, New York, and Tokyo. Their regulations are developed over centuries and decades and will cater to any type of shocks, not only to COVID pandemic, any any size of shock they can cater and absorb, because the level of the types of players and their structure is built to absorb such shocks. A good example is that in the 1997-98 period, there was East Asian currency turmoil, whereas some of our neighboring countries like Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, and such countries, because they are not big financial centers and they did not have the regulations properly structured, the big financial players in the world like George Soros fund and other big funds, they entered those markets, bought into the local assets in the local currencies, and with a target profit, when the prices went up, they sold at once and then exited. So the economic size was not big enough to absorb such shocks. Finally, the domestic asset size was lost. The economic GDP was lost. They had a huge loss. And the result was East Asian currency turmoil. But when you take London, New York, Tokyo, and other big financial global markets, such kind of large and huge fund managers like George Soros and other fund managers do their investments and do their transactions on a daily basis. And those markets are able to withstand and absorb their transactions and any shock. They're buying into assets, they're selling the assets. Any moment, any day, they are accommodated. And we don't see such disturbed markets in those huge global financial markets. So these global financial markets provide a comprehensive range of financial services to an international clientele, a principal center for its time zone. In the Far East, Tokyo is a huge market. When the Tokyo is about to close, London takes over, and London is the playground for the huge players. Finally, New York opens around London midday, and then the day goes on. The economic activities of huge multinational companies and huge funds take place in markets. When we talk of regional international financial centers, examples are Sydney, Hong Kong, and Singapore. They are medium size, not as big as London and New York and Tokyo. They too conduct international financial business, though at a smaller scale than global financial centers, with a more regional focus. And there are domestic financial centers providing financial services with national focus to the domestic economy. Example, Sydney and Mumbai. They are regional as well as domestic financial centers because of the size of it. Colombo is a domestic financial center. And apart from these, we do have offshore financial centers. Example, Bahamas, Cayman Islands, and Isle of Man. Usually they are tax havens. There is no taxation or very minimal tax by the administrators. Intermediation between offshore borrowers and lenders. Minimum regulatory requirements. Low or zero tax. In Sri Lanka, somewhere in 1980s and late 70s, with the open market practices, they began foreign currency banking unit or FCBUs. They are type of offshore market. As you know, Sri Lankans usually or normally they cannot open accounts at offshore banking units. However, those permitted by the Board of Investment in Sri Lanka could open FCBU accounts. And FCBU accounts were open for foreigners and foreign companies. They could open accounts in FCBUs in banks in Sri Lanka. That is called an offshore market in Sri Lanka. The same bank, example Bank of Ceylon, has a domestic book as well as FCBU book. They function as a separate two banks. They have to keep separate P&Ls, they have to keep separate balance sheet, and their home currency is two different currencies. Bank of Ceylon domestic currency unit is rupees. Bank of Ceylon offshore or FCBU currency unit home currency is US dollars. So likewise, the FCBU is subject to very less regulation by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka and other regulators. At the same time, Bank of Ceylon FCBU has to open and maintain accounts in the US dollar currency or any other permitted currency for FCBUs, like euros, Hong Kong dollar, Singapore dollar, Australian dollar, and then few, about 7 or 8 currencies that are permitted. So again, to summarize, global financial centers, regional financial centers, domestic financial centers, and offshore financial centers. So what are the requisites for an international financial center? In a city like Colombo, when we operate a financial center, a central bank, a regulator, and other regulators like Insurance Board and Securities and Exchange Commission, and commercial banks, licensed commercial banks or licensed specialized banks, intermediaries, primary dealers as intermediaries, unit trusts and other funds, and insurance companies, and huge funds like EPF, they operate. And also money brokers as supporters to the large intermediaries like banks and primary dealers. When this city of financial center, there should be a requisition, some features to function as a financial center. What are the requisites? What are the requisites? Basically, a stable political situation, political condition. We have seen when we had a weak government or a weak political regime, what weaknesses we had. The political entity of the government should be strong enough to take the political decisions. Example is that for the paddy marketing when there is a strong government, they were able to compete with the few large paddy buyers or paddy millers, and then bring the situation under control. So likewise, the political clout, control, administration should be forceful enough or powerful enough to control the foreign exchange market, interest rate market, treasury bill market, treasury bond market, and also to create a new environment for new products and expand the market and bring in the other parties who are not involved in this market to take part in the market, in the financial market, which is called financial inclusion. We'll be covering that in the third or fourth semester in a little bit deeper sense. But financial inclusion is what is lacking in Sri Lankan markets in a big way, because financial literacy in the suburban and then village level population possess is not enough for them to take advantage of the financial markets. They should have that financial literature, financial knowledge and ability and infrastructure so that the financial market could gather more volumes with their contribution and then upgrade the economy. Then economic activity is another requisite in the market for the better functioning market. When the economy is weak, when the production is weak, we saw that on our own eyes, experienced it during the 2020 year with the COVID pandemic, when the people could not move around, when there was lockdowns, when there was curfew. Economic activity came down drastically. And the financial markets also could not function. When there is economic activity improving, the economic activity will contribute to the financial markets to perform better with higher volumes, with a better price discovery for the currency and the interest rate, and sharing the benefits with the producers and the consumers. And the next requisite is the legal framework, the proper network of legal enactments or Parliament Acts, and taking on from the Parliament Acts or the legal acts the set of regulations imposed by the regulators. The regulators in Sri Lanka are, for the financial markets, Central Bank of Sri Lanka, Securities and Exchange Commission, and the Insurance Board of Sri Lanka. In my opinion, we do have a comprehensive network of Parliament Acts and legal enactments, but the administering or enforcing such laws, we have to improve a lot. We must not leave room for unscrupulous elements to take advantage of certain instances with detrimental effect on the large population. So the legal enactments and the regulatory mechanisms should enable the law enforcement agencies with a greater clout and the regulators and law enforcement agencies, authorities should understand their role and then keep up to the expected regulatory levels. The regulation must be enforced so that the producers and the consumers can share their legitimate benefit, so that they can look up to the next day, next month, next harvest, next crop, next production cycle without any ambiguity, without worrying that their market will not be there, somebody else will, the people, intermediaries will snap up their legitimate margins by way of super profits for them, which is very unfair. Then communication. Communication facilities are also a requisite for a successful financial center. In Sri Lanka, the communication facilities are satisfactory. We do have a couple of large communication service providers competing with each other, and they do provide the latest technology in their communication facilities, all right. But I personally see some lack of understanding of the communities, such as end consumers, regulators or law enforcement agencies, and the producers. Such elements do not use the communication networks to the best advantage for them. The regulators also to be blamed for not creating or not connecting each and every segment of the society in the economy through communication network to obtain the best results. And there are many other factors as well, we shall discuss as the time is. These are also very important requirement or requisites for a successful financial center. If there is no peace and political stability in a country, in a city, a successful financial center will not materialize. We remember prior to 2009, when the bombs were going off in the street corners with the Central Bank and the World Trade Center and various other places, the peace were disturbed. The financial center to operate successfully, that is a deterrent. New investment would not come in, and the parties who are responsible to various functions of the financial center may or may not turn up, will be absent, their facilities will be disrupted. So therefore, prevalence of peace is a very vital factor, inclusive of political stability. Then the rule of law, a sound legal system, we discussed this in the previous slide, is also necessary requirement for a successful financial center. Good communication network is a requirement. Skilled labor force is also a basic requirement, saying that the Sri Lankan labor force in serving the financial center, who are serving the financial center, are categorized as good or satisfactory. They do understand what they are doing. They do know what the contribution that they should make. They do understand their role. They are positive about the successful financial center. However, lack of good networking, the available communication networks being used properly, the available legal system being used efficiently, and various other few weaknesses, the skilled labor force would perform much better than they do now. There should be financial markets available and financial instruments. As you know, in Sri Lanka, we do have very few financial instruments. We do not have a derivative instrument to absorb risk or manage risk for a fund manager or any other person who want to run a portfolio assets. Then prudential supervision. The prudential supervision carried out by the central bank and the Securities and Exchange Commission is of high standard. But the weaknesses in some other areas does not highlight the prominence of the available supervision that these regulators currently perform. Then the complementary services such as legal, law firms and accounting firms, audit firms are also material factor for the success of financial center. Then there should be a market economy going by demand and supply, free of other unwarranted external influences. Urban infrastructure, special transport. A good transport network is a requirement for a successful financial center. We cannot boast about a good transport system in Colombo, particularly. In Sri Lanka, transport system has to be improved at great levels. Otherwise, that is one area where we are not performing or not up to standard up to now. Then there should be an attitude or tolerance levels at various levels in the financial markets. No discrimination, whether they are foreigners or domestic or belong to any community, different communities. There shouldn't be any discrimination to operate a successful financial center. Then there should be a low taxation. Until this government came to power, I think the tax levels, speaking of the taxation of this country, one thing, it was complicated, and then the next thing was it is comparatively high. But what I know is that from the beginning of the year 2020, taxation has reduced to a great extent, but still not fine-tuned in some corners. But however, since of 2020, we have an improved level of taxation, which will encourage the economic activity of production of various goods and services, and which would be available for the consumers, and intermediaries should facilitate the transaction between the producers and consumers. And then the regulatory light-handedness. They must understand, the regulators will have to understand the purpose of transactions and the implementing regulations should be done with some common sense. A currency used for international transactions. Definitely, we cannot boast of Sri Lankan rupee as an international currency for international transaction. When it comes to international transaction, we have to use US dollar or euro, or now on the increasing, emerging yuan, Chinese yuan. So there should be a facility or facilitation for international currencies in our markets for our market to function as a successful financial center. And there should be head offices of large multinational companies, MNCs. Multinational companies should be prevalent in local offices so that their businesses, their monitoring will be available in the city, in the neighborhood, so that the financial market could prosper. Then convenient time zone overlap for trading. I think Sri Lanka is best placed geographically for time zone. When we open, Singapore, Hong Kong, Tokyo are operative. And when they close, we operate with the markets in Dubai, Frankfurt, Paris, London. And towards the end of our day, we see New York market opens. So Sri Lankan geographical location and the time zone overlapping factor is best suited for a successful financial center in Sri Lanka. Political and administrative capital cities, we do have Colombo and Sri Jawadarapura. Then we should have a cosmopolitan culture. That too we do have, but should be improved. Location and sound operation of central bank. Yes, central bank should be given credit for that. Widespread command of English language. Yes, we do. The Colombo community, financial services sector community are well versed with English language and could communicate with good command. So the financial system includes financial institutions, local, regional, international, and multinational organizations, regulations, financial instruments, and financial markets. So as discussed over a few slides before, you will understand the importance of these institutions, regulations, instruments, and the markets. So with their optimum contribution, especially the financial institutions, financial system consisting of institutions and regulations that act on the international level as opposed to those that act on the national or regional level. The main players are the global institutions such as International Monetary Fund, Bank for International Settlements, national agencies and government departments. Example, central banks, financial ministries, and private institutions acting on the global scale, banks and hedge funds. You will understand this slide better when you know about the Colombo port city that is about to become commissioned as a financial center, Colombo Port City. So that is going to be a model of the slide when it is set up. So now it is 6 p.m. So tomorrow at 4:30 we can discuss the last few slides and the next set of slides. And as indicated, please share with your friends as well. If anyone could not participate today in our discussion, that we will have the class today and tomorrow. And on Thursday, day after tomorrow, we will not have the class. And next meeting will be on the 20th of April, by which time you should be ready with your assignment and should be submitted to Mr. Menaka, Assistant Director of the Institute of Bankers, and to me. So my again appeal to each and everyone is to attempt the assignment and discuss the difficult points with me and try and produce a superlative assignment so that you can earn 50% of the marks on the first semester. So any questions up to now?